Generally, I'm pretty proud to be a Canadian. We're a great country, we're a great people. But I recently came across this stat that sort of made me as a Canadian feel a little bit shameful. Canadians are actually among the worst at food waste in the world. In fact, a recent study showed that Canadians wasted 170 kilos of food per year, so per person per year, or 25% of all food that they purchase. So if you go to the grocery store, spend $100, it's like throwing $25 out. If you have 4 bags, it's like throwing one in the garbage before you even get to your car. Food waste is a really big issue here. And we've done food storage and food preservation videos here on Clean My Space in the past, and they've done really well. And when we came across this recent article, we thought, you know what, we need to do a little bit more. So in this video, we're gonna share with you some great ways that you can preserve the food you already have at home. Now, of course, the best thing to do would be to eat the food, but if you need to prolong the life of the food, I'm gonna help you out. And just a quick reminder, if you haven't done so already, to subscribe to the Clean My Space channel and give this video a thumbs up if you like food storage tips. And by the way, we are having a flash sale over at makersclean.com and makersclean.ca. So if you want to save 25% off store-wide, you can go and hit that sale right now. Just before we get started, if you're wondering why I sound like crap, it's because I feel like crap. I'm still sick, but don't worry guys, I am getting better day by day. All right, let's talk more about food and less about germs. Okay. So the first thing I have in my hand here is asparagus. Now, I remember in my grade 11 bio class, we learned that you could turn flimsy celery into nice crispy celery because they had sort of a tube system that ran all the way from the base of the celery all the way up to the top. And if you look at the bottom of asparagus closely, you'll see that it has the same thing. And those bio people out there, you can verify what I am saying right now. If you stand asparagus up in water, and in fact, you'll see that they do this in grocery stores, they have them in these little pits with water at the bottom. It keeps the asparagus fresh and crispy because the asparagus can then suck the water up from the base through to the top so that your asparagus stays fresher for longer. So what this looks like for you is take a relatively tall glass that will fit your bunch of asparagus in there, put a little bit of water in at the bottom and store your asparagus in your fridge upright, and you'll see that it stays fresh and crispy for days. Mushrooms can be a polarizing vegetable. Some people are just horrified with the texture of mushrooms or the fact that they're fungus, and other people cannot get enough of them. I am in the latter group. Literally, I can eat mushrooms every single day. They are my happy place when it comes to food. But storing them can be a challenge. And when I buy mushrooms, I usually get them in those cartons. That's how they come packaged most of the time. But those cartons, if you leave them in the fridge for too long, you pull out a mushroom and it's like pulling out a slimy old escargot. They become disgusting. So instead of storing them in those plastic containers, you can take them out and put them in paper bags, or better yet, when you're at the grocery store, buy them loose. They often provide paper bags. Now the reason paper bags are better for mushrooms is because they can actually breathe and let moisture out effectively, whereas in plastic, the moisture just builds up inside, and that's what creates that slimy texture on your mushroom. Now if you notice that you keep your mushrooms in paper bags and they get a little bit dry, no problem. Just fill a bowl with water, pop your mushrooms in there, and they'll start to plump back up again. And I'd love to know in the comments, are you for mushrooms or are you against mushrooms? In fact, I was so interested in mushrooms when we were in San Francisco not too long ago. We were at one of those markets and they had full-on like branches that you could buy that grew mushrooms. Now, I couldn't bring it back to Canada because it was illegal to bring it back, but I've since been looking for ways to DIY my own mushrooms. That's how much I love them. The avocado is truly the diva of the fruit and vegetable world. Here's how avocados think and act. Wait, I'm not ready. Hold on, not quite yet. No, you're gonna have to wait a little longer. Too late. That's how I feel about every single freaking avocado that I have purchased. You buy a bag of them and it's like none of them are ready, and then one day they're all ready and you're like, what am I gonna do with all these avocados? So there are a few little tricks that I have picked up over the years for managing avocados. Here they are. First of all, if you're gonna buy a bag of avocados, great. If you notice that they're all rock hard, you can store a couple of them with 1 or 2 bananas or an apple. just in close proximity. Like we have that yellow mug that you guys see sometimes, so I'll put a couple of avocados and a banana in there. That will help speed up the ripening process. So you can eat a couple of those when you want, and then you can do the same thing with a couple more. If you notice that they're all getting ripe at the same time, you can eat as many as you care to, and then you can put the rest of them in the fridge to halt the ripening process. So that's a really good tip. Once they're ready to go, pop them in the fridge, but before that point, keep them out and let them ripen outside of the fridge on their own. And the way that you know an avocado is ready, of course, is when you press it. It should give you a little bit of bounce back. Another great tip that I've learned is if the little nub falls off easily, you know that it's a good time to eat it. If it's still hard and you can't quite get it out just with a little flick of a finger, it's not ready yet. Don't feel bad, this happens to everybody. There's that moment in time where you open your crisper drawers, you take something out, only to see that the bottom of your crisper drawer has this gross swamp-like buildup at the bottom. It's a weird color. You don't want to touch it, God forbid to smell it. You don't want anything to do with it. The way that that happens is condensation comes off of your fruits and veggies in the drawer. It has nowhere else to go, so it starts to sink to the bottom and build up. Now what that condensation also does is it starts to wilt and decay the rest of the stuff that's in your crisper drawers, which is why you end up with those gross science experiments in your produce bags. What you can do to keep this at bay is to line the bottom of your crisper drawers with a few sheets of paper towel. And what this does is it helps to absorb any of that moisture and condensation. Now keep in mind, you have to change the paper towel out often because of course it's going to absorb moisture, but it'll also absorb odors. What I recommend is on your weekly grocery shop, clear out your crisper drawers, change your paper towel liner, and then put all the fresh stuff back in. Now, in case you haven't been to the grocery store lately, let me break it down for you. Berries are a fortune, but they're delicious and they're hard to stay away from. So every now and then we'll pick up some strawberries or blueberries, and oftentimes they get eaten. But in the rare occasion that they don't, like last week, I looked at mine, they were about to go bad, and I knew there was no way that I could get through a pound of strawberries like that. So I went online, I did some research, and I found out, and I hope you guys know about this, but if you don't, here goes. You can make jam in your Instant Pot out of strawberries or any other berries that you have lying around. It's so easy to do, and Chad loved it. So I think I'm gonna be doing that a little bit more frequently. Now, on the topic of the Instant Pot, I really love mine. It's actually one of the, I think it is the #1 selling item on Amazon. I'd love to know in the comments down below, do you guys have an Instant Pot? And would you like to see a video on how to clean the Instant Pot? I'm talking the lid, I'm talking the gasket, I'm talking every part of that Instant Pot, because I know how to do it. And if you're into it, I will tell you. If you have these in your fridge frequently, you might notice that when you store them with other fruits or veggies, they tend to ripen a lot faster. And that's because apples give off what's called ethylene gas, which is a quick ripening agent, if you will. So the other foods in your crisper drawer can actually spoil faster if they're kept with apples. So this is a good tip. If you have something that really needs to ripen quickly, pop apples into the crisper along with that item. However, if you have produce that you want to keep around for a bit, separate your apples from that produce, and that way they won't ripen as fast. You would think that a raisin or a currant or a dried cranberry couldn't go bad because it's already preserved, it's already dried. But if it's exposed to air for a period of time, you'll notice that these little dried sweet things start to become really hard, rubbery, and completely not enjoyable to eat. So if you are going to buy raisins or currants or any of those dried, small, shriveled fruits, you want to just store them in something that's airtight, like an airtight little bin or a mason jar. This is a perfect solution, and it will keep them ready to go pretty much indefinitely. So there you go, a few more ways that you can keep your food fresher for longer, and of course keeping some more money in your pocket. And that brings me to this week's comment question, which is, these are food storage videos. I find them helpful. When we research them, I learned so much, And I've taken these tips and I've used them for myself, and they have definitely helped and saved me money. So I'd love to know in the comments down below, do you want to see more videos like this? And what food is stumping you? And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, we're having a site-wide sale over on makersclean.com and makersclean.ca. It's a flash sale, just a little quickie. We're doing 25% off store-wide. You don't need a coupon code. I've got a link for you down below, but of course you can just visit makersclean.com or makersclean.ca and pick up your cloths today. If you're not doing so already, make sure that you're following us on Instagram. You can keep up with all things Dream Home Reno and Riley and all the other fun stuff that's going on in our lives. I'm at Melissa Maker, Chad is at the Chad Reynolds, and the two of us are at Clean My Space. Here are a couple of other videos I think you'll love, and if you want to learn more about Makers Clean microfiber cloths, you can click this button right over here. There is a button down there that lets me know you care, so click it if you liked this video, and click this button right here to subscribe and begin your journey to a cleaner life. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.